The Real Kyper and Bourne Show. We're kicking it in gear. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jimmy Willie. James Wilson. Wilson! Wilson!
I admire your commitment to the
Does that not remind you of the volleyball?
Yes, it absolutely does. If it didn't, it would be a very weird way to bring Jimmy Willie into the show.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we're on Sportsnet 590, Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet Plus. You can always download us if you don't catch us live and text us at 590 and get them in because we're kind of jam-packed again this week. I don't know if we've broken the news to our loyal followers of Real Kyper and Bourne, but we will be.
We just got news in our ears.
We just got news. My Wilson is out the window.
Okay, well, I blame our beloved Jen Rolnick for misleading me in an email earlier today because I read it. I got it correct on what she told me. So that's just what is going on back here?
I don't know. I put the jersey. the Blue Jay guys. We came in off the Blue Jay show.
What the hell?
I hung up a jersey.
I don't want to know what your closet looks like at home, pal.
What are you, like my wife now?
Well, I just looked back. I was like, what is this monstrosity?
Okay. I can't fold. All right? You want me to say it on national television? I can't fold.
We'll have to wait
I'm not an ambi-turner.
Okay, pull the thing down, would you?
Yeah.
Just go, please.
Get a Leafs kid up there.
There you go.
All right. We are off to a rocky start.
We got no Wilson and a half-baked jersey up on the wall.
10 days until playoffs start, and we got to iron out the kinks here. This is you can't go into playoffs on a
Whether
rough
it's
stretch.
Jimmy Willie or David Sisboomba, I was breaking the news that we will not be on the air tomorrow due to a afternoon, what do we call them, getaway game, Sammy?
Getaway game, correct.
Getaway game to the Blue Jays.
Stealing our thunder.
Get your texts in, 590, because we're jam-packing those things in this week.
And I would like to say this won't happen during playoffs. We'll be here for you every playoff game.
Is that a Mark Messier guarantee?
No, I shouldn't say that. But I know post Leafs will be here.
Oh yeah, but woke up this morning, boys, in the afterglow of what was a wonderful win for the Toronto Maple Leafs last night.
You did like
3-2 win in overtime. Toronto Maple Leafs outlasting Kyle Dubas's Pittsburgh Penguins.
And I woke up without a voice. I woke up, I couldn't speak, and I was like, I don't know. I just
You
woke
weren't
up.
yelling last night at the TV, were you?
No.
a little bit.
Maybe. No, I wasn't at all. It's by myself. I'm not going to yell by myself in the living room. I'm not a maniac. But I was petrified that it's almost like a nightmare where, it's like, those nightmares where you can't get your skates tied or you can't get to the school on time or all those different.
Can't tee the ball up.
Can't tee the ball up. I thought I was about to have one where it was like my favorite game of the year and I can't come in, I can't talk. That my life flashed before my eyes. So
what are you saying to us here?
that I can talk and I'm happy.
No, besides that, about the Leafs. Like you woke up and you're like, what, we're going to win the Stanley Cup now this year? Is that what you're thinking?
No.
This could be the year that the Leafs win the Cup?
I would never, ever in a million years predict the Leafs to win the Cup. Ever.
Okay.
I would never, ever, never say that.
But you are no longer predicting them to go out in the first round?
I think that they will put up a great fight in the first round and potentially win their first round series. Yes, I am starting to believe that.
Whereas as late as a month and a half, you thought doom and gloom. They're going to play the Florida Panthers. They're out. There's not a chance that this team's advancing. 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago,
I wouldn't even
Christmas.
say that long. No, I don't even think that long, Kippy. Like start of March,
2
maybe.
weeks?
Maybe start of March.
So
like,
2 weeks.
No, that's longer than 2 weeks ago now, but that's like a month ago. But
Was it before or after Saturday night against the Oilers when they...
Round there.
Trade deadline was exactly a month ago.
Really?
A month and a few days.
I think this is where a lot of Leaf fans are, which is, they got them right. They got us right where they want us, where it's just there has been a new hope instilled with a different looking team, with different guys, with all three of their superstars on different lines, a different looking decor, a hot goalie, where now the worst possible thing has happened, where we've all been tricked like idiots again, into believing that they can win the first round.
Let's not get crazy with we all.
Well, no.
We.
Listen,
I will say Leaf Nation.
I'm not sure how many people are as nuts as you are for the Leafs.
So, I mean, I am in so many group chats regarding the Leafs.
All
I
right.
talk about the Leafs all day long. People, like, I am on a radio show talking about the Leafs. People come to me to talk about the Leafs. And I wouldn't say it's full hope.
Okay.
But people like this team, Kyper. I think it's a likable Leafs team, the way that they act on the ice.
I'm not arguing anything here. I'm just getting the Sammy vibes right now. That's all I'm doing here.
Maybe people could text in and tell me if I'm wrong, but I do feel that there's a bit of hope. The sun is out. It's a beautiful day today in Toronto. I'm feeling like the hope is kind of bubbling up with a great win last night that sent, Doobie packing with his tears in his eyes. Like, feels like there's a good feeling around this team right now.
You can't
I know
argue
that's
that.
dangerous.
No, and I would agree that in my talking with Leafs fans, they're in. Like, it'll hurt if they were to get eliminated now. There was a while where it was apathy, disinterest. You can't fool me, fool me once, yada, yada, fool me 100 times. Here we go. People are ready to get hurt again.
They pull me back in.
And I have to say that a big part of this, too, for me, is the big bad Florida Panthers, who we were all horrified about and how they were potentially the best team in the league forever. They just haven't been. They have kind of hit the skids here. They haven't been nearly as good as they were in the middle of the season. They're banged up. Ekblad's going to be out to the start of the playoffs. Their Haggie's hurt. Kachuk missed a game here or there. They're not what they were. They're still a horrible matchup for the Leafs, but they aren't what they were in the middle of the season.
This is where, I'm with you. They are more playoff likable, right? Because it came to fruition here. The more sandpaper, the Max Domies of the world, the Ryan Reeves, Joel Edmondson. I know he's out, but when he was in, gave a look of playoff hockey. So I'm with you that they aren't going to get run out in the first round. But I think outside of that, where you just mentioned Florida, I think we can go league-wide and go, okay, this is the least predictable out of any kind of playoff run. Like, we can handicap teams, and we know which ones are the good ones or the deep ones. Mm-hmm. But there's a sense now, and maybe it's because you're watching every night 4 teams jump into a last playoff spot. Not necessarily because they've been playing great hockey.
Someone has to get in.
But somebody has to get in.
Yeah.
It's like musical chairs, right? Like, what are you, a professional musical chair? Oh, it's just when the music stops, you look. Yeah. You got a seat or you don't have a seat. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it's a different vibe around this team than it was. And, maybe we can get into it a little bit last night. What you saw that made you feel that way, that has you coming in so positive about this. What last night gave you that feeling, Sammy?
Well, I guess this is more personal stakes, but I just felt like last night I was, I had the playoff feels in that game where we're getting into that time of the year, and I just felt like that was a big game against a team that has a ton of star power who needed it desperately. And I thought that Florida came out, got Florida on the mind. Pittsburgh came out hot in the first period. Leafs kind of weathered that storm, and I thought they controlled the game for the most part and played really well. And specifically, again, Austin Matthews, to me, playing on that top line with those two guys, is looked the best he's ever looked to me. I'm blown away by how much different he's looked over the last little bit.
So you were feeling like very positive after that first period that they weathered a storm. I don't know what they had, 3 shots on goal in the first 17 minutes. Was that just a weathering the storm, or was that just a team that maybe could have found themselves down 2-0 or 3-0?
Yeah, it certainly could have when you get outplayed like they did. I thought Pittsburgh was an all-out effort. Pittsburgh was very good, I thought, for the first stretch of that game. Like, there was times guys tried to take the puck to the middle. You got 5 Penguins diving in the slot to get in the way. It felt like desperation push from a team like Pittsburgh. And so, yeah, not great. You don't want to get outplayed like they did in the opening part of it, but they did slowly pull it together, and it felt like it was too much for Pittsburgh to hang in there for the whole way. But yeah, no, to your point, it was a good push from Pittsburgh to start.
In about 20 minutes, we're going to welcome in Gord Stellick, Toronto Maple Leaf analyst for Sportsnet 590. The Fan, also former general manager of the Leafs. Always great to have him on. So we'll talk plenty around Austin Matthews and the push towards ending the season. And then at the top of the hour, Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers, but does an amazing job breaking down. And we'll talk to him about Samsonov moving forward, another stellar outing. Talk about weathering the storm, Sammy, or Sammy to Sammy,
Well, yeah.
Sammy to Sammy. It really looks like he's shaping up here to pick up where he left off, I guess, from beating Tampa Bay in the first round last year. And a lot of great vibes coming out of that series. And unfortunately, the collision in the second round, can't even remember who hit him. Oh, it's Luke Shen.
I don't
collided
remember.
with him.
I really don't remember it.
Is that what happened?
You're right.
Luke Shen
Yeah.
ended up sliding back on a partial breakaway and took him out.
Yeah.
And he never returned.
Never came back.
So hopefully that's behind him. But
Well, he hasn't left the game weirdly at all this year, so it should be fine.
yeah, well, we'll wait and see how that plays out. All right, let's go to Sheldon Keefe for our first Kippers Clipper of the overview against Sid's Pens last night.
Well, obviously, the fact we were able to keep it out of our net on the penalty kill was a big factor in the game with how many penalties we took. And other than that, I thought we played a pretty good game defensively. Didn't give up very much, even in that third period. I think we gave up very much. Obviously, they get one in behind Sammy there. But I thought we played patient. And, they didn't get much off the rush. It's a team that does a lot of damage on the rush, and we managed that really well. Guys didn't cheat, didn't get away from that, stayed with it, even though the game was really tight. And I think we didn't get a ton of offense here tonight ourselves, but it was one of those games where we just had to stay with it. So because we didn't get enough offense, we don't get the regulation win, but I liked a lot of things about the game. And then, the overtime, I thought the guys handled that well too to get the second point.
In terms of like really positive developments, I thought last night was the best TJ Brody's played maybe all year. I can't remember him being involved in the offense so much. He had the puck in the O-zone. He was moving around. Even in overtime, he was, cycling to the puck with the guys down low. I just thought he skated it well, moved it quickly.
Made a great pass to Nyes for his goal.
That's right, too.
Yeah.
It just it felt like, okay, well, if they can get a piece of that, he may know that he's trying to play his way back into the lineup.
And and we're going to see where they are in 10 days from now. But I mentioned it a week ago that I'm not convinced he could still be in the lineup, that he's a lock to be in the lineup in game one.
Right.
And I'm still not sure. And I agree with you. He looked better. A terrific cross-crease pass to Nyes for that all-important goal. And looks like he's starting to come around somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm starting to get into that question of, okay, if Brody's in and everybody's healthy, who's out?
Yeah. Liljegren.
See, I need a right-handed shot to start.
Who are you thinking?
It's so brutal to be like, no matter what, this guy's in because he's right-handed.
I'm not taking Benoit out. And Liljegren's not coming out because I need him.
You don't need
And
him.
no, you do. You do. You're going up against Florida. You need big bodies.
And Liljegren's at?
Well, Liljegren can do more, though. Liljegren can give you 20, 21 minutes if he's feeling confident and he keeps his game simple.
Yeah.
He can look like a top 4 defenseman.
You know what I mean? Like, I guess you can't make gestures on radio. I'm not so sure. Only because when he's come back healthy.
He's got to get 2 or 3 games under his belt. If
when he's come back from injury,
I'm not putting him in
slow.
game 1 coming off of this.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there.
He needs to get back in.
But he needs to get back in, and right-handed D are at a premium.
Yep.
We know what it means to the Leafs. You're going to just have...
Who's he taking out then?
Brody's. Brody, what is
Brody's
he
still
getting?
leaving him out.
Brody.
God, I thought he was their best E last night.
Yeah.
Brody, I'd rather play the physical game than I hope Brody can skate one out game.
I guess the question is, Brody has played. Yeah, I'm with you on Benoit. I don't even want to discuss Benoit. I want him in. So for me, it's a matter of like figuring out, do you want Brody, who's played the right side most of his career very well, who looks good now, or Liljegren, who hasn't played in a month and is hit and miss to begin with?
Haven't loved Labushkin recently
He had a bad
either.
game. Didn't think he was very good last night.
I didn't think he was great
the
against
giveaway
Montreal.
was bad.
Didn't think he was great against Montreal either. I think he's playing too much.
Yeah.
But I think that's just because he's right-handed and he's big. Keefe seems to like him, but it just seems like he's getting a little bit overexposed a bit. But he won't. I don't think he's coming out. He's right-hand shot, big body.
A boarding call there last night.
I hate that call. I
hate it. He's eliminating a guy.
What's he supposed
It's
to
a
do?
hard play on a guy. Okay, again, I always want to emphasize that I don't like dumping on the officials. But last night's game,
Awful.
like it's embarrassing.
Whenever Leaf was hauled down Carlson in the final few minutes,
stuck his stick between his
how do you
legs.
not call that?
That's a penalty 1,000 out of 1,000 games.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby got high stuck.
100% that stick hit him in the
puck.
face.
What is your blade doing up in his face?
Well,
That's a high stick all day long.
I don't think
All
it is.
day long.
Did the puck hit it? The puck hit his face, not his stick.
His stick also hit his
No,
face.
it
His
did-
stick is up by his neck.
The
and hits
puck
his face.
protected him from the stick.
Stop
But the stick,
it.
without the puck,
There was
the
no-
stick's going
they
into his face.
reviewed
It's a
it.
stick in
It
the
was the
face.
correct call.
It's a stick in the face.
Correct
Anyways.
Correct call.
Anyways.
Sorry.
The
We did
slash, Raquel's slash on Marner.
Soft.
Embarrassing call.
I thought,
Embarrassing.
I thought the one on Willie, too, when Sid gets underneath him when he's trying to get around him, was like, thought that was soft, too. I thought every call was bad.
I mean, I don't know what's going on, but we cannot see these in game one. We cannot see
Oh, we
these.
will. It happens every year.
No.
I mentioned this last night on Leafs Talk, Kip, that it felt like a playoff game because there was 5 ticky-tack calls against the hockey team. That's what happened. It gave me PTSD to the first round last year and the year before, where they call 6 a game for nothing. And they're like, we got to set the tone. So can you just let them play hockey?
Yeah.
Okay, we
Ref talk.
got our thoughts on TJ Brody. Better
Way better.
enough to lock him into game one. Let's ask Sheldon Keefe on clip 4.
Van Ryn and I were talking on the bench just a few times about how he was probably our most efficient puck mover here today. Just calm and not just on the goal and those situations you mentioned that he gets assists on, but he just moved the puck with poise and then under pressure just relaxed and making some plays. Obviously, the first goal we give up in the game, we sort of panic and throw the puck away and it ends up in our net ultimately. And Broads has got some poise with it, and you need that. You got to be able to move the puck efficiently out of your end under pressure. And if you can't, then it turns into the way that a lot of our first period was to start before the penalties became a factor. But Broads helped us make some plays that get us up the ice today for sure.
High danger scoring chances when TJ Brody was on the ice last night, 7-0 for the Leafs. Next highest was 4 in terms of high danger chances for the Leafs. So he was good.
Nice.
He's playing game one.
Probably.
Oh, definitely. Are you kidding me?
You know who's probably not? Benoit.
Yeah.
I know we all love him. We all want him
Yeah.
in. It's probably Benoit.
Yeah.
Who's not.
Well, I think Liljegren still is a candidate to not
Yeah.
play.
We'll see
Where
he
he's
gets
at.
to, for
Yeah.
sure. In terms of other things last night, looking around the hockey team, you mentioned Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
He was spectacular.
Kipper, I got something that I'm afraid to say to you, but I've been
up?
thinking about it a lot, and I have to be honest with you. No, the Marner stuff. I think the 12 games away from Mitch Marner was the best thing that's ever happened to Austin Matthews. I think he has improved and looks better right now than I ever remember him looking.
I think there was a switch too, and it was before Marner. It was facilitator. I'm telling you right now, he is looking for plays.
Mm-hmm.
He's not forcing, and the goals are coming. Like he's in that. Listen, even the last 2 off a face-off,
They're just kind of going in.
they're kind of going in.
Yeah,
I don't really anticipate. They're going in on goalies that should stop them. And in the playoffs, it's more likely they will stop them.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of his game, I've loved more than anything I've seen out of him in 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's
back
because
hard.
he's starting to understand at his position that he's moving the puck. It's not sitting on him long. He just looks like it's more inclusive, even though the goals are still coming. I don't disagree with you that there's a sense that, Mitch isn't there feeding me all the time.
Well, he wouldn't
but
let's not.
He is understanding now at the pivot position how important a complete look is for him.
Yeah. I don't think he would have 65 goals if he wasn't playing with Mitch for a lot of the year.
Sure.
And I don't think it really matters. I think if he looks like he looks right now, like we talk about him as the best scorer in the game, clearly. And it's like everyone's always like the best scorer. But the way he's played, it's like you can talk about him as the best player kind of thing. Like he is up there. When he's looking like this, he's looking like the true center. I love him on that line. And I know we talked about it yesterday with Marner or whatever, but I think he's outscored 16-6 at 5-on-5 with him in the last 10 games, 18 points.
Yeah,
I don't know.
His 5-on-5's off the charts.
I don't know how
the
you
numbers
split it
are
up,
off the
Kippy.
charts.
How do you split it up? Like, it's the best he's ever looked.
You know what I think gives? Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's going to be interesting. Calle Jarnkrok coming back is going to change some things, right? Because everyone likes Jarnkrok, like in terms of playing with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And I am curious. I got the sense from you the other day that you don't love the line that Marner's on for him.
Listen,
and I wonder if Jarnkrok becomes an option in some way.
I really believe when Jarnkrok comes back, you're gonna see Willie go back with Tavares, and you're gonna see Mitch with Austin and Max.
Yeah, they've just been trying to do this 3 lines.
And then you figure out your third line. But I don't think even last night we're seeing a ton of chemistry. There's guys playing well within the team concept, but are you seeing, like, outside of Max and Austin, is there anyone else you can say great chemistry?
I think Bertuzzi complements that line really well. Like, he's winning battles, he's digging pucks out, he's poking them around, he's going to the front of the net. Like, that mix to me is a great mix.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. I don't think there's a ton of chemistry with Marner and Tavares and McMahon at all.
I think if you have a guy that you always call the engine, like he can drive a line.
He's also 2 games off of a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
Right? Where he's still got to get his full game back.
And, they connected with McMahon on a nice one. He actually made a great pass to Tavares going to the net that JT couldn't put away last night. But, I am curious to see how much they're sold. Like, this version of Matthews, can he drag a line to success? Imagine Marner or Nylander not having to play top opponents in a round. I mean, what a breath of fresh air that would be.
What did Nylander play? 17 minutes. He's pulled everybody back, which is great.
Nylander was 16-30 last night.
And we may get to the point now where we're going to see some healthy scratches.
Probably tonight, wouldn't you think?
Well, listen, when you start hearing that Edmonton's starting to save Connor McDavid, and then how do teams like Toronto not look at their stars and go, okay, which one do I want to say that he's going to take a night off on?
Panthers are sitting Ekman Larson tonight. They're resting him. Like, it's starting to kind of happen around the league.
It's happening now.
Yeah.
So the Leafs have 2 back-to-back Devils games now.
Ugh.
I know. And so we've had the debate about will Matthews rest because of this 70 goals thing. And all of us feel the same, I think. Maybe, Sam, you feel like it's worth the push for 70. I don't know. But I think Kip and I feel the same, that it shouldn't
I'm totally on
matter.
The way he looks right now.
Yeah.
I would like to preserve that until game 1.
Put it in a glass case.
Yeah.
The other thing is,
so I
too,
wonder if they'll
is
let him play
where do you
these 2.
sit now on home ice advantage? And if it's there, do you let it go? Do you force it? Do you want it?
So
I think I know your answer.
They're 3 points behind the Florida Panthers with a game in hand, 99-102. If they were to win their game, that game in hand, they'd be 1 point back, and they play Florida the final weekend of the year. It is a very real conversation, second in the Atlantic.
A tie also gives it to Florida, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Toronto's regulation wins they have 7 less regulation wins.
Yeah.
Let's start in Sunrise, baby.
Yeah, you just feel like take the pressure off.
Yes.
I hate this conversation because
sorry, buddy.
No, it's fine. I hate the conversation of I'd rather suck and be on the road first. It just really bothers me just from a perspective of you need to be beyond that.
Yes.
You need to be, I'm good no matter. I don't care. I don't care.
You know what this is?
And I'm not guessing whether or not if we suck, it's better for us. I just want to go out On the road, at home, I don't care. We're going to beat you either which way.
To me, it reminds me of, and I know there's some narrative about, of not playing Sidney Crosby or Malkin to start OT last night for Pittsburgh, where you're like, well, we're 3-8 with
Well, you
Crosby.
guys dumped on him, eh? Everybody dumped on Mike Sullivan last night
Yeah, because it was
Crosby.
dumb as hell, but then we found it was a skate issue.
I mean, did Evgeny Malkin have a skate issue too?
Yeah, did he not have any timeouts?
He's the
Take a
only
time
one,
out.
He's the only one that doesn't have the switch it blades or whatever you call those things.
Is that true? He doesn't have the little clip.
No,
blades?
they had to bring
Doesn't
him
have the click.
They brought him a
No,
whole second.
no.
When he got hurt, when he
Yeah.
went in with McCabe, they brought him a whole new set of skates.
You could see it
Yeah.
on the telecast
great.
last
Call
night.
timeout and let him get skates on. You
No,
danced with the one who brung ya. This Sidney Crosby single-handedly. What do you know? You single-handedly drag your team back into the playoff race. You don't go, okay, Drew O'Connor's going to get it done.
I'm not even sure, but I don't even think you can call a timeout before, like, it'd be like calling a
Throw
timeout.
the bench on the ice.
No.
Do the Jason Kidd spill the pop
No,
on the
I don't think you get to call a timeout in between periods.
Or just let their puck drop, get possession, shoot one in the boards. I don't know. Get him on the ice.
To me, yeah. Anyway, it's the same thing where it's like you're overthinking this cutesy thing where it's like, maybe if we start on the road, the vibes will be better. It's like, do the thing that helps.
They have the most road wins in the NHL this year.
He's
Toronto Maple
really
Leafs.
superstitious too.
Great team. Who's that?
Sid.
Okay.
He won't go to those blades. He's got to change his skates. He's got to take the
that's
trainer.
his punishment.
I
He made us
respect
play
it.
us by 1 point again.
And he missed the Eclipse because he was snoozing yesterday. They asked him if he was going to play. He's like, no, I'm snoozing.
Well, that's important.
I thought it was a vintage Sid night last night.
Yeah.
Like in the fact that he
wants it so bad, he's all over
he's
the refs.
whining,
All
he's
over him.
slashing everybody.
Yeah.
He's got the puck on his stick the whole game. I thought he was
He tried
unbelievable last
everything
night.
to drag them into a regulation
Everything.
win.
Except the blades.
Except the blades.
I'll do anything for hockey love, but I won't do that.
I like Bunting's game too.
He was great.
Yep, flopping around in the first
he
shift.
flopped and drew
Was
a
he
penalty.
flopping?
Oh,
Buddy,
my
the penalty
God.
drew to start the game was
As-
so Bunting. Skates pointed up at the rafters on the way down.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's part of his game.
it works.
That's
Oh,
great.
it works. He does draw a lot of penalties.
Some of the most in the league over the past couple of years. It
Yeah.
certainly does work. So
Yeah. And you like the shot of Kyle Dubas and
if
Jason
I may.
Spezza at the end of the game?
I've never seen someone so clearly recognize they're on camera because he's all uptight before it happens and it goes in. He's like, I can't make a big scene. Need to exit.
Well,
Need to exit.
he knows where to find the exits pretty quickly from heartbreak in that building. So
Hey.
he knows how to get out of there.
But it is pretty unbelievable that the guy who scores the goal is one of the best trades he's ever made.
Definitely.
Getting Jake McCabe at 50% value puts his team away. He must have been watching that being like, oh, nice to see that come through.
And, that Carlson trade, like, he is good offensively, clearly.
Yeah.
He's a disaster in his own zone.
Yeah,
He's quieter. He's quieter the last 2 weeks for Pittsburgh.
I just watched him last night. He takes that brutal trip.
He was when they were out of it a month ago. He was at his all-time worst.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But now they've calmed him down. It's limited.
Do you want to listen to Keefe on McCabe getting the winner?
I do.
Sure.
Let's do a clip too.
Yeah, it's big. It's good. It's a cool moment, like you said, for a guy that does a lot of the grunt work for us. He's a competitor and does whatever the game calls for. So for him to get that opportunity and make good on it, it's a nice moment for him for sure.
And I love the finish. It's actually a tough little finish.
Yeah,
To the forehand,
Yeah.
through the arm. Good on him.
Can he do it 5-on-5? A couple times?
McCabe.
Yeah.
8 goals this year, quite a bit.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I think that's
Not
right.
bad. I think he's. You hope he's going to set the tone for sure because he's that guy. I think that needs to really be in the faces of top players.
I hope he's finding a level of maturity with it where he can play like that without getting caught up in the emotion like last year's playoffs where it felt like when there were big hits and high event physical moments, it kind of took him out of the play a little bit.
All right, we got a few minutes here. I want to hear Sheldon Keefe on the penalty kill because I didn't like it last night.
We stayed with it. I mean, we were in our end way too much tonight. I thought our penalty kill's been going really well here, and it's been a lot of it's been on the backs of hard pressure and then clears on loose pucks. We didn't clear the puck enough tonight. So as a result, we were in our end a lot. And, they had a lot of puck time, but I thought we pressed things to the outside and they got things to the interior. They were from distance, and a couple of times, of course, Sammy had to make some good saves for us. But, the guys stayed with it. That's a lot of penalty kill time tonight. So it's good to find your way through it. That's what you like to see, of course.
Yeah, Pitt had grade A looks on it all night, and Sammy was really good. But I don't know if I'm finding it too aggressive where there's breakdowns and then the seams are open for these grade A chances. And I just think they just need to tighten it up. And I maybe even less aggressive for me.
Yeah. Hey, how about the 2-on-1 that Dewar and Kampf have, which nightmare, as you mentioned, nightmare duo to be on a 2-on-1. Dewar is always in the right spot, so the coach plays him all the time. He can't handle a hockey puck. Like, he can't make an offensive play.
Like a grenade.
Like
he's beating it to a square at all times.
I mean, he's just a non-existent threat on the offensive side. Maybe he'll tip some.
He has 11 goals.
Rebound. I know.
I'd like a 30 for 30 on that. How did that happen?
Hey, Camp had 15 last year.
But specialty teams got to hit it at the right time here. Yeah. And Matthews, a couple goals off of face-offs, but still want to see some snapping around like other teams look against the Leafs.
Yeah, maybe that's something to get ironed out. There's 5 hockey games left over 9 days here.
Bourne, you wrote an article on March 27th about the penalty kill and how it's, you're not that worried about it and how it'll figure itself out and it's not that big a deal. Since that date, I asked Sportsnet Stats where their penalty kill ranks in the league. It is 2. It ranks second with 95.2%. 1 goal on 21 opportunities.
That's great.
That's the most shorthanded opportunities in the league amongst that time for those teams. And Carolina is 100% over that time.
Oh, my.
13 opportunities.
Last night I agree with Kip. Last night was not
They
pretty.
were scrambled eggs.
For sure. And their goalie bailed them out. But by and large, they've looked better.
Yeah.
Having Marner back is really going to help. But, yeah, one thing that does scare me is they just – not scare me. They don't have the offensive threat that they used to on the PK when it was Mikheyev and Engvall and guys that would go, which I don't know, Engvall, I know how we feel about him. But
Mikheyev and Engvall is offensive threats. Boy, your check is in the age from their age.
But they had guys who would skate it. Right now, it's like if they don't get clears, they're cooked. No one skates it out.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, Gord Stellick. We'll get into more on the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Maple Leafs, 3-2 win for the Leafs in overtime after these words. Right back at you. Real Kyper and Bourne. All right, let's welcome him in. Stellictricity. Gord Stellick. Where you been, pal? We've missed you.
Well, been here, there, everywhere, and experienced the eclipse. Did my taxes, following hockey, all that kind of stuff. Kyper.
Eclipse and taxes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somehow they
You're
feel
covered
related,
both
like
ways.
end of the world sort of scenarios in both cases.
They're both very dark.
There it is. That's what we're looking
Gord,
for.
5 games to go for the Toronto Maple Leafs, including last night. Now, the game meant a lot more to Pittsburgh than it did Toronto, but yet Toronto found a way to win a close game. So maybe that's a good sign that they're locking it down for a playoff start that's coming right around the corner here. What's left right now for you in these last 5 games starting tonight against New Jersey?
So, first, Kippy and Justin, this is the 8th consecutive year they made the playoffs. And of all 16 teams that will ever get in the playoffs, I don't know if going in hot or going in cold makes a difference. I don't know if starting at home or on the road, how much a difference it was making. For this Toronto Maple Leaf team, more so than anyone else. I mean, they had that year that was done against the Montreal Canadiens, and it didn't happen, and on and on and on. So there's just been a lack of predictability, whatever the end of the regular season means for the playoffs. But saying that, you want to see the kind of efforts they had in Montreal, they had against Pittsburgh. Great to get Mitch Marner back because you want to be healthy. So I like the fact that they find a way to win a game. This one had a little bite last night. Pittsburgh is playing playoff hockey right now, a little bit of desperate hockey, and you found a way to do it. And again, your depth is starting to come through. Your goaltending has been strong. So these are all encouraging signs. Do they all end game number 83 like they have in the past in some cases? Well, we'll find out. Hopefully it doesn't. All you can do is go out, in my mind, give those kind of efforts.
I don't think we mentioned this in the first half hour of the program, but Auston Matthews has 5 goals from 70 with 5 games left. Does he get it?
Well, I don't care one way or another, because I think and I think he'd rather win the Conn Smythe Trophy, as would Martin or anyone else. But saying that, Justin, I'm not going to rain on the parade. It's a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah.
50, 55, 60, 65. He's on a tear of late. It's an incredible number. I mean, I hope he does. That would be great if he does. I also, when you talk about, resting him, that's why I can see him playing all the games. If he were to get to 70, maybe they take game 82 off. But, you just are managing ice time a little bit more. You see that rolling 3 and 4 lines a lot more. But boy, oh boy, I kind of had put that in the back burner, like I had the Pittsburgh Penguins making the playoffs a couple of weeks ago. So good on Auston Matthews. It's a possibility. I hope he does.
Mm-hmm. We're talking to Gord Stellick, Toronto Maple Leaf analyst for Sportsnet, former general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. It seems like eons ago that we were talking at training camp about Willie Nylander playing center, I think.
Yes.
Never really came to fruition. But here we are, 77 games in, and now we're starting to see major changes to lines, Gord, where we've got, 3 superstars on 3 separate lines. Where is this playing out for you? Do you see old reliable come back in game 1, or is there a real chance that Nylander, Matthews, and Marner are separated to start the Stanley Cup playoffs?
I don't know about start, but there is a chance. And you know what, Kippy, every single playoff has been the depth on the other team has been an asset against the Leafs, who've had to rely on basically 2 lines. And so here you've got a whack of different options coming together. Do you want to go the strength down the middle and do it that way? Because as you mentioned, they made a lot about Nylander. They had Domi playing center later on. If Ryan O'Reilly, when he was there, you kind of wondered were they going to have Matthews, O'Reilly, and Tavares last year? Because man, and if you can throw those 3 kind of lines out in the playoffs, I mean, that just really adds to your depth. But now Bertuzzi looks like obviously a real deal. Matthew Nyes looks like he can play on the top 2 lines. Bobby McMahon can play on the top 3 lines. So I think, Kippy, there's a lot of different options, a little more options, it seems, for Sheldon Keefe. And this is where the bench coaching and the feel is going to have to come in more, because hey, we're not after anyone's job at all, but you see what's happened to coaches this year in the NHL. And I think, like his legacy is going to be a lot of way decided about this, a great going deep in the playoffs. He could have a run like Pat Quinn and Pat Burns. 1 and out, don't know. So I think he sees now more options that he's got, and how is he going to deploy them? So I'm interested in that. So I could very well see them go 3 type of centers like that, or the easy way is to have your top 2 lines with 2 strong players each. But they got to figure out something different to make a difference against Tampa Bay, Florida, Boston, who, when they beat the Leafs, depth was always something in their favor.
I think we can finally sort of say that it is going to be Florida. They're not getting caught behind it by Tampa. Like, it just is what it is now that it's going to be Florida. Do you care about the quest for home ice? It is within their grasp here. If they play well down the stretch, is it important that they make that a priority?
No. I think it's important they play well down the stretch. Yeah. I kidded people in Winnipeg because I love the fans of Winnipeg. I got some great friends there. I think they're 0-36 in the whiteout, and they're going to do a whiteout again. Whatever, I don't know why. And in Toronto, they played their best hockey on the road for whatever reason this team has. I'm not saying you want to have not have home ice advantage. You can get it. That's great, but it hasn't been the be-all and end-all for them. So, no, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned about that.
Gord, the sense is that they should be healthy on the blue line. There's talk about Edmondson coming back as quickly as Thursday, maybe, or the weekend. There's talk about Liljegren getting a game in or 2 before the season's over. So, all things being healthy here, who's in, who's out? Where is Brody for you?
Well, isn't funny that Brody started to play better, but he's the guy that has just had that off season this year that you'd be hard pressed to believe you would consider him being a healthy scratch, but at some point you would have had to. I think he likely will go with him as part of it. again, just much Kippy and Justin, like you're talking about identifying the forwards that are going. It's another one about just what defensemen work. How is it like last year? You can't have another Justin Hall performance who was like on for 9/10 of the goals in the playoffs. And that again, whereas a Luke Shen who was slotted as a third pair ended up being a core 4 guy. So I'm still like I did a column about Timothy Liljegren, kind of comparing him to Rasmus Sandin. You want to find a way to have your young defenseman develop here and not somewhere else. So I'm keen about him. Obviously, your big guys are Morgan Riley and McCabe and others about, hey, they come through. I liked Edmondson in particular and Labushkin. Adding that, Edmonton's won a Stanley Cup and gone to the final. So again, these are going to be questions for Sheldon Keefe, and obviously you dress 6, but your core 4 are the one that are going to really matter.
It's funny how the roller coaster of a season changes, the narrative changes, but Sheldon Keefe, at times people had him on the hot seat. People, love how he coaches, but his record with this Toronto Maple Leafs team has been very good. And I saw an article recently, Jonas Siegel, on Sheldon Keefe. This is his best coaching job with the Leafs, given some injuries to some key people and just their challenges throughout the year, no goaltending at times. What are your thoughts on the performance of the Leafs coach this season?
An underrated coach, but you don't have that playoff success. So that's kind of the dagger there. And I really thought when he took the team over from Mike Babcock, they were in a deep hole. And now maybe it was their loathing and animus towards Babcock that that the Wicked Witch was gone and they played so well and got back in it. But I thought he did a solid coaching job there. I've liked him as a coach. He's not, wasn't the big name like Babcock and all those. And too often we get wowed by the big name. But I think, everybody has to wear about what happened in the playoffs, including Kyle Dubas's record, whatever it may be. As a general manager, you got to wear just one playoff round victory. And so that's going to be the ultimate litmus test. But I know when you're around for a long enough time, you start to develop your detractors, whatever it may be. But he's going to have a pretty good record among all-time Leaf coaches, whether it ends this year or another year or 2, 3 down the road. So I thought he's done a solid job. I like that he has not had to. This has been the year that coaches do not walk back criticism. It's, Rick Bowness, Rick Tocchet, John Tortorella kind of done it. It just seems to be more open season. They're saying, look, we're getting fired left, right, and center. So I'm going to go down doing it my way. And I see more of that with Sheldon Keefe this year.
Any concerns at all? I know the penalty kill has been on a good run lately here, but we were just talking earlier in the show that seemed like Pitt certainly had some good looks here, but in the last handful of games here, is it important that the power play starts looking like a real power play instead of maybe a set play off a face-off? More, you want to see more out of it?
So my big concern is I don't want, because the first year when they lost to Washington, they got a standing ovation. I don't want to be with you guys the 7th consecutive year after the elimination game and talking about the same old stuff, how it happened. That's my biggest concern. Got to get the power play going. Like in the playoffs, special teams, goaltending, even more important. So you got to seize those opportunities. So I'll view it as a concern, Kippy, but they also show when they got all cylinders flying, they're among the elite teams. Now there's 7 or 8 other teams that are like that. So you've got to differentiate yourself from that group with more consistency, which includes the power play.
So with the playoff race in the East kind of heating up here, you got 5 teams kind of on the cusp. Just get your thoughts on that portion of the NHL here. It's going to be interesting to see if any of those teams can come in, get hot, and do damage. Between the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Capitals, Flyers. Who you like, Gord?
So first, Justin, I like this race. Okay, it's going to be a photo finish.
Race.
A horse race, a photo finish. They're racing hard to the wire. These guys have just seen the barn and the home stretch and just gone off to the barn. I can't, it's the weirdest race going. It's like the old walking race where, if you misstep, you're out of it. The most boring thing to walk when they. So I really can't believe the lack of teams that have been seizing it. I know people want to see Patrick Kane and want to see Sidney Crosby in the playoffs. I think it'll be Detroit, Washington, and Islanders at the end of it, and Philadelphia and Pittsburgh will be the teams that are out. Yeah. Pittsburgh makes it. I give them full marks. They were dead, but they went on a Nashville Predators type tear, and they got a break that everybody else said, "Whoa, Nelly," and didn't and stopped the race for a while. and they would have taken advantage of it.
What did you make of the attention off of Sid Crosby from the officials last night?
So, and Craig Simpson made reference to it, but, when you analyze it, that first they made the right call on Bobby McMahon, would that be partly a reputation call if there wasn't video review? So a double minor, which could have been a different, on Sid, changed. And I know the other part, the Leafs had the puck going the other way when Matthews and Sidney collided. But for a second, it did look like a significant collision. So, I mean, is he getting extra respect? Because he's like, I've never quite heard of like the old book, Jordan's rules in basketball for Crosby's rules in hockey. But it was kind of funny. I thought the thing went okay as far as the calls went. And then, I mean, the skate thing. I mean, our friend John Shannon said that just only Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid are the only two that have the old-fashioned boot. It's like a lot more players should get that if they're the only two. But basically, I mean,
I think they've done okay with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, when we're playing house league and all of a sudden you got to yell at someone's parent to take the hand in the skate and they go get Frank Mahovlich's dad at Leaside Arena to sharpen it, and the poor kids missed two shifts of house league play. I mean, that's what it was like last night with Sidney Crosby's skate experience.
You still have the tubes, right?
Was that pre-microns or were those microns?
Tackleberries. Remember Tax, and I put my number on the skate. I got it.
Super Tax, Gord. Super Tax.
Okay. Well, Ernie couldn't afford Super Tax.
No, neither could George.
Well, you got it paid for eventually anyway, Kippy. Someone did.
We did. All right, buddy. Listen, great stuff as always. Thanks for doing this, Gordo.
Okay, guys, take care.
Thanks, Gord. Appreciate it.
That is Gord Stellick. Stellictricity.
Simmer had an all-time line last night. Crosby, gets hit. Him and Matthews collide, and it was after the high stick where they blew plays dead twice, where there was really no reason to blow the play dead. And he was like, are they going to blow the whistle every time Sid gets hit? And it was like,
Simmers in
call.
playoff form last night.
He was, yeah.
We're getting into the season.
Lines.
We're getting into the season. So, what kind of skates do you?
Listen, I'm not getting treated the same way as Sid. 800 players aren't getting this.
Right.
But you still got to play the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
There has to be something between what we saw last night and respect for Sid.
For sure. Too quick on the whistles.
I saw a little clip floating around the internet of super duper slow-mo that Matthews had a pretty hard long look at Sid before he hammered him.
There's
a
a lot of people that said that Austin had a very good look.
Yeah,
before.
I'll show you the video in the break, but maybe a little bit of accidentally on purpose.
Let it be
Please,
true.
God.
Let it be true.
Please, God.
You think he'll slash somebody soon?
Oh, my
It
God.
could be. Hey, he gave
Playing with-
Darlene once. Maybe he'll get weird.
He's playing with Domi and Max, man. It's Domi and Bertuzzi. It's the best thing for him.
That's actually the most protection he's ever had if he wants to get aggressive.
What kind of skates do you guys wear?
I've got like whatever the most Bauer, whatever
Okay.
they are.
What are your favorites, Skip? You know?
I was a Bauer guy too.
Yeah. When I was the Marlies video coach, because they're the Maple Leafs, I had skates. They like at their 3 different locations, just in case they needed to hold an iPad. So I got like brand new
Oh,
skates.
my God.
Multiple
Incredible.
pairs of those,
I
yeah.
still remember the moment I went to my first junior A camp at Kitchener.
Yeah.
And I was the last cut, by the way.
Oof.
But they still bought me new skates.
What a feeling.
And my feeling was, even if I went home, I'm going home with new skates.
Yeah, you got something out of the
baby.
deal.
What a great feeling.
Love
amazing.
that. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we're just getting started,
Yes, sir.
getting warmed up here. We go national next. We got Valley.
Yes.
The Valiquette
Yes.
will join us. We'll break down all the goaltenders as we get ever so closer to the Stanley Cup playoffs when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Don't go away. Real Kyper and Bourne show going national. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee for the next hour. Wherever you're watching, listening, Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver, Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. Welcome on in. This hour, Real Kyper and Bourne, brought to you by Bet365. All right, let's not waste any time because we love having this guy on the air. Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG. Also does a great job with his company, currently the CEO of Clear Sight Analytics. And we do love having those numbers come out when we talk about goaltenders because we are getting into crunch time valley, which means all the pressure's on your guys between the pipes. How are you, first of all? Thanks for doing this.
Hey, guys, great to see you. And yeah, I mean, it's going to get into that pressure cooker right away. And I was listening yesterday to what you guys were talking about, which is, Kyper, can you get through a playoff round with a goalie that's not allowing bad goals? Because that's what sinks the hockey club. And one thing that I've seen over the years, and you guys have seen it and felt it, it's not really the high danger saves that separate the best during a playoff series. It's what goalie doesn't allow the goal that everybody else is stopping. And it starts and ends there. You wouldn't believe how cool it is at the end of a series when you're getting into the numbers and stuff to see how even the high danger chances will be through the series from team to team. It'll be 14-14 like it was the year that Dallas played against Tampa in the final. And the goalies perform exactly the same, stopping 2 out of every 3. But the differentiator is the low danger goals. And you know what it is, fellas? Not everybody can recognize what the low danger goal is, because unless you go through the exercise of watching every shot during a season and then seeing which ones the goalies are stopping 97% of the time or even higher in some cases, and then you see somebody allow it, you're always asking yourself, you know, was that a good goal or a bad goal? But I think it bears out over the course of a season. So you can sort of look at it by saying, who is allowing this? And then you can start looking at the video and seeing that it's the lower class goalies.
Yeah, well, I'd love to dig in on that a little bit more. Are there any goaltenders in particular who excel at not giving up the weak goal? I know some guys are great with the high danger chances. Is there anybody who's above and beyond of just consistently making the saves they're supposed to make?
The upper tier guys this year are all doing that, because what happens, Borny, is when you're looking at expected save percentage or expected goal models, you get absolutely hammered if you give one up. It's almost like you've got to make 100 extra saves to make up for that bad goal. Yeah. And that's the way that I always look at it anyway, because this year's top of the list, it's, believe it or not, Markstrom's still near the top. Binnington, who's not going to make the playoffs. Shesterkin's near the top right now because he's pushed Hellebuck, of course, but those guys don't allow a lot of bad goals. But more importantly, what we're getting into for the postseason is going to be the differentiator. And we'll talk about this during the playoffs, and maybe we'll see each other at the playoff conversation as well. You never know.
Love that.
I want to talk to you and what your thoughts are on Vasilevsky in Tampa, because it just seems like, oh my gosh, we've forgotten about Tampa Bay. We think Vasilevsky won't completely come back off of a major back surgery. And then you look up and they have the best month in March, and you're like, oh man, they're for real again. And it's because of who? Vasilevsky?
You know, it's one thing that's been brought to my attention, and this is kind of going around the league as a conversation, is a goalie should never steal a series anymore. Because there's not just a book on them, but there is a smarts that I think this generation is allowed to play with that maybe ours wasn't, Kyper and Borny. Because when you think about it, guys are allowed to pass off of rebounds now. And I felt like that never happened when I played. Guys are shooting kill shots from 20 feet away with like 75% power so that they die net front. Whereas we would always be in shoot to score mode, or at least that's the way I approached it as a goalie. I always felt like guy gets within 20 feet of me, he's thinking one track mind, he's shooting to score, where now we're seeing it in the data. There's a lot of pass off pads from really close proximity pass off pads. So those types of area games, the small area, along with broken plays, because teams are looking for broken plays. Now, last year in the playoffs, that was the first year I ever saw that there was more broken play goals scored than east to west goals scored. And broken plays, you can create them. If you have a clear look now from the point at the goalie and you don't see anybody there, watch how teams are hitting the end boards or aiming for the pile of players that are net front, looking for ricochets there. Because the best teams, I have this written down in my notes tonight because I was looking at it for today's game. Since the All-Star break, we've seen Pittsburgh play really well, haven't we? Mm-hmm. They've got 24 goals off broken plays. The Leafs have 23. The Islanders have 22. The Rangers have 21. Those are your leaders, and those are all teams that have played really well since the All-Star break.
It's actually funny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Valley.
No, that's just what it's just what I see every night, Borny, right? But then it's nice to get it backed up on the numbers. And then you start watching the video of the goals. And man, like, last thing on this, Benoit Allaire, 20 years ago when he was my goalie coach, one of the things that he would have in a meeting before the postseason with Henrik and I was on the bulletin board. It would be screens, deflections, broken plays, rebounds will account for 70% of all the goals scored during the postseason. And, you start to get a little wise to it when you're playing. And I've always been thinking about that statistically since I've retired.
It's such a rally killer when a guy from distance, like 60 feet, just shoots it on an unscreened goalie. Like, it's an absolute, you might as well shoot it, try to bank it off a leg or something else in front. It makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask you about...
For 1 second, I want to tell you something.
Yeah, what do you got?
No, because I looked at that today, and it was the Rangers have had 726 of those, the ones that you just described.
Yeah.
And only scored 7 goals all year.
Ugh. That's not awesome. So it's like a pointless shot.
That's why you don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's why you don't do it. Like, the whole genesis of our company, guys, it's if you give the goalie half of a second to lock on the shot before the shot comes, he has a 97% chance to make a save. And the hardest thing to get through to coaches, it even rings true when you get to the slot area. And you think it's a high danger chance, but it's not unless there's a pass option, like a 2-on-1 where the puck carrier shoots. It's a big difference because now the goalie is not mentally all the way locked in on shot. He's thinking about pass.
So one of the best goalies in the league over the past couple of years, Islanders have had Sorokin. Sorokin, I've really liked his game at times. This year's been a weird year for him, kind of up and down. They're at 85 points and favored to get in the playoffs now. Tell me a little bit about his year, because I can't make sense. Islanders fans, some think he's been terrible and some have really liked his season.
I was just, before I came on, I was looking at who's been performing really well since the All-Star break. I keep using that as a cut line because that's actually when Shesterkin started playing well. How we could do that.
Help the homeboys, yeah.
Exactly. So, but Sorokin, I was surprised. He was in the bottom third, and he's always been in the upper third. Yeah. So Varlamov, he's playing again tonight against the Rangers. He's getting the start. I can't really figure it. I mean, I love Sorokin's game, but hey, I saw Shesterkin go through it so bad in January that I thought the Rangers might even miss the playoffs. He couldn't stop a beach ball, and you wonder what's going through with goalies. They're still hard to figure for me, boys. I think there's still a lot of the mental game we can't really get to the bottom to.
Talking to Steve Valiquette, analyst for the New York Rangers on MSG, also Clear Sight Analytics, the CEO. So I think you mentioned rally killing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I don't know if it's average more, but giving up the first goal on the first shot. For some reason, I think I've seen more of that this year than in the past. I know how it affects me and my teammates on the bench because the first question is, where were you last night? But what about the goaltender here? And are there numbers out there that they're different when they let the first goal in? Do they go into a shell? Is there a psychological disadvantage for the rest of the night if you give up a first goal on a first shot?
That's really the data that I like the most, Kyper, is because it brings those biases that we have from playing that we remember and we can find truth to them, right? And no, it's always fun because I don't have the answer for you right now, but I promise you I'll text you later and give it to you and I'll tell you who's given up the most. But I do like looking at those, and it's always fun to see, hey, look, I was watching the Pittsburgh-Toronto game last night, all right? And I was just waiting to see if Pittsburgh could just muster one high danger chance after Sammy let in the second one. And they didn't. Yeah. They didn't. And the reason why is because that's what I'm looking for with Samsonov. Can you come up with a save after you've allowed your second goal or your third goal and just get a stop right there. The same thing happened in Montreal in his previous start. He didn't face a high danger chance in the third period. He didn't face one. And I was just waiting. So if I'm you guys, and as closely as you cover the Leafs, you need to wait for a little bit of evidence in these next couple of games. Is Samsonov going to make a big save to hold a lead? Because we just haven't seen enough of it because of how bad his start was. I can't buy into him being the guy that carries them to the Stanley Cup. And of course, I look at everything. I look at body language. You know which one I don't like about him is when the puck goes in, he's always giving her like one of these. I was like,
a startled cat
out there. Don't try and sell me on, and I yell at my goalies about this all the time. Don't sell me on the fact that you're shocked you got beat, or you became a spectator of that circumstance that you were in right there. If you look at Pitt's second goal last night, he's just sitting in his butterfly. He doesn't even go for it. I'm like, man, roll over, find the puck. What are you doing? And there's an element of that in his game. And I think like it's funny because every goalie in the league has a different something where you can imagine we always have eyes on us. So we're always trying to take goals off the ledger. It's like when the coach comes up to me after a game, right? And he says, hey, Valley, were you screened on the second one? And what about the fourth? Was it deflected? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay. So now my 4 just went to 2. That's the way I'm thinking about it, right?
Yeah, so, you're appealing to avoid those goals. I like that.
Oh, always. We're salesmen.
Yeah.
So, that's the funny part with him, I think. I think that he's got to knock it off with the salesmanship and just play the game and get into it because he can make a few more of those broken play saves that are going to be critical. And he's got to stop building screens on himself. Goalies can do that too, okay? You can fight. I'll tell you one little insight about a goalie too. When I was playing my best, and any goalie, any former goalie will admit to this, when you're playing your best and you're screened and you fight for just a split second longer just to see the first couple of feet of the puck coming off the shooter's stick, you're going to get a piece of it. Now, when you're not going well, you can allow that screen to build and just hide behind it. And Samsonov has the lowest save percentage on screened shots of all the goalies that will be going into the playoffs. So, and we all know it's going to get denser in the postseason. And I'm going to be watching him closely because you guys know I root for Leafs after Rangers. Rangers and Leafs, those are my rooting interests, right? And I want to see the Leafs win. But I'll be fired up if that guy's building screens on himself.
Interesting that you're leading me to this next question to you because last night, just quiet night outside of the Leafs in Pittsburgh, Vancouver, and Vegas. I don't know if you caught Brock Besser's 40th goal, but Petey's in front of the net. He's in the blue paint, and I thought for sure that they were going to challenge it, and it would be disallowed. They didn't challenge it, but Logan Thompson's in there, but he's not fighting to look around. He doesn't make it obvious.
Yeah.
And play went on and he got his goal uncontested. But that traffic's coming now. And what do the goalies need to do? And I believe, and I hate to say this, but if Logan Thompson over-exaggerated Petey in front of him, I have no doubt in my mind that goal would have been disallowed, but he chose not to, and the goal was allowed.
Couple things. The first goal last night, if you watch it again, a good example of Samsonov building a screen on himself is what he did when the screen first arrived. You'll see him shove his face right up against the ass of the player that was in front of him. And you do the opposite. He was actually, you'll just trust me on that one. You'll see it. Now, I didn't see that one last night, Vegas, Vancouver, but we had one last week where Kreider was pushed into the goalie. And this is something that we're seeing a lot of, and it's really twofold. It was Letang. It was the game against Pittsburgh, and Letang backs up, and Kreider is between Letang and Tristan Jarry, and he just shoves him back like this. Mm-hmm. And it pushes Kreider in. He was not going in at that point. He was a good foot outside in the white ice. But Letang knows it, backs him in. The goalie plays it up a little bit, and it was a disallowed goal. But I know, and this is getting talked about, I know that if you're going into the postseason and you're playing against Kreider, who the Rangers have great net front. They've got Wenberg, he's a top 5, by the way, in the league. Of one of the stats we keep is how many times your team is credited with one of your players in front of the goalie, and then we credit that player with a screen. So where's the list? I got a list here. Anyhow, I was going to go over it tonight because Anders Lee is one of them as well.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
So, yeah, top 5 guys. Boys, I got stats on top.
So much information.
2 seconds. No, I just thought this was interesting because when you're looking at a pre-scout, here you go. Let's talk about Eastern Conference. Top guys at screening the goalie in the Eastern Conference. Again, I'm going this way because I'm looking at potential matchups for the Rangers. So Kreider, 70 screens. He had 15 goals the Rangers scored when he was screening the goalie this year. Anders Lee, 62 screens. He's second. Alex Wenberg is third in the Eastern Conference. Yes, sneaky, 51 screens. And Nick Paul is fourth. Sam Reinhart is fifth. That's the top 5 guys at screening the goalie in the Eastern Conference.
Oh, he's always there.
Really?
Always.
Hey, boys, you know what it's like? If you're going to pre-scout and you got a guy like Kreider or Lee or Wenberg or Paul, whatever it is, you know that you can back that guy in, and you're going to get the call if your goalie's cooperating with one of those moves, where he's just giving her one of these and filling. And look, I've cheated every single way you can imagine and tried to get goals disallowed my entire life. And I know it. And for whatever reason, now it kind of pisses me off when I see guys doing it. But I'm like, I did the same thing,
The other one, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, is the accidentally on purpose knocking the net off.
Well, aren't they making a rule
coming.
about this, though?
That's coming, is it not, in the playoffs?
I've heard. I don't know if that's going to be a fact or not, but do you remember when Murray was doing it? Maybe a year ago, and he did it 3 or 4 times within a week.
Yeah.
2 things about that quickly. The one that really works, I always thought, was you just drive the spine of your pants into the post and you can knock it off, just make it look like you stumbled. But when you see the net come off once in a game, if the maintenance crew don't come out with a drill to make the hole bigger and get the snow out, then it's going to come off a second time easier. And I think that's really important because not every rink has the same maintenance protocols.
Yeah. Well, we watched that Leafs Penguins game last night, and it feels like Nedeljkovic is the guy there for Pittsburgh. Is he legit? Where do you have him in terms of starters around the league? Starters. So,
yeah, interesting thing on him is, do you remember when he got that big contract after that big year in Carolina a few years ago?
Detroit?
And then it was Detroit.
Yeah.
And here's the way I look at Nedeljkovic. This guy works his butt off. And he's a gamer, and I'm rooting for him. He's undersized. He's an elite puck handler. But the one thing I wonder with him is, can he play when he's a favorite? He's an awesome underdog. And I think that players have the same problem with this. I mean, I heard this about Alex DeBrincat after he had his big year and got his big contract for the first time. I was talking to somebody in the front office there, and they were like, yeah, this guy's been an underdog his whole life. Now he's getting paid like a favorite, and he's not living up to it because it's a new mindset. It's a new space for him. And I think goalies have the same problem, which is why it's so hard when we pay goalies that have had really big surges on other teams. And you can go through the list of guys that have done this. And then when they're paid, it's like harder for them to live up to those expectations. But at that moment, you don't realize you're just getting paid not for what you've done or we want you to do more. We just want you to be consistent and give us a save in there. And, of course, Jack Campbell comes to mind there too.
Two goalies. I'll name you 2, Hellebuck and Jake Ottinger in Dallas. What do you got on those guys? Because they're going to be huge here moving forward.
Ottinger is surging right now at the right time. I've been wondering about him all year. There were a lot of top goalies that got off to really slow starts this year. Saros, and some guys never came out of it, like Gustafsson. Philip Gustafsson was one of the top goalies in the NHL last year, and he's right near the bottom this year, which is shocking to me. I think he's a really good goalie. Hellebuck, he's all the way up near the top, and he has been again this year. I don't know if Winnipeg's going to do it. I don't know how you guys feel. Like I wonder about Winnipeg. Smaller defense, and I really like their third line. And I wonder about how they're going to work out in the playoffs. I don't know about them, but Ottinger, I think Dallas could be the favorite. I think did you guys watch that Colorado-Dallas game the other night?
Yeah.
Looked like a different league.
Yeah. Good hockey.
You know, they're just playing so fast. And when you watch the East, it just seems so much slower. But they're playing fast, and Ottinger's playing really well. He's a top guy. And he's been a top guy for a long time. And I think it's Kipper's pick before the
it was.
It is.
It was. Hey, you're a top guy for us.
Absolutely. Appreciate your time, man.
Hey, boys.
Valley,
have a good one.
Have a great one, pal. Thanks for doing
I
this.
hope your Islanders bring it tonight, too.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Look at all the sheets you got. This is hilarious. Have a good broadcast.
All
All
right. See you,
right.
fellas.
Thanks, Valley.
My favorite when it comes to
It's got so much information.
the information,
Yeah.
the analytics.
Chris Kreider scored 50 on the backs of that screens he's talking about. Just park there.
Yeah.
Tip it in. Yeah, tip in the other night.
The goalies get ready because it's the first thing you talk about.
That's literally
Right.
the thing for before the series. You're like, we're going to be in the paint.
In your face. We're coming after you.
Did you
Who
write
can
it?
handle it? Who can't?
Did you write it down?
What's that?
What Samsonov is in the league on screenshots?
No, I didn't write down the number.
Okay, I saw you writing something over there. But,
Well, did
it
you
was-
not?
was
You
it-
gotta-
was
you
it
gotta look
worse?
at
the bottom
cringe.
was the worst. Was it
Was-
last?
Yeah, don't like that.
That's not a good place to be.
Don't like that at
I
all.
prefer to be second last.
I prefer
or
to
even
be
third last.
top 10. It's like, well, knowing on so what he gave us there,
Mhm.
which was just a wealth of information. If you're just catching up now,
So listen to
go
that
back
again.
to our podcast, go to YouTube, watch it again. But he told us that the top 5 screener guys in the league, Sam Reinhart's one of them.
Mhm.
The Leafs are going to be playing the Cats in the first round. So Sam Reinhart is going to be screening the goalie who's the worst at saving screenshots.
Should be fine.
I don't like that matchup.
And you woke up feeling so positive.
Yeah, Valley drove it in the ditch. I love him to death, but that hurt. That hurt. I don't know.
Reality check.
Hey, question for you. I saw Paul Bissonnette tweet this the other day. It was a question, and I thought it was an interesting one, and I wanted to bring it up with you because there's guys on the precipice of both of these.
Yep.
The 100 assists versus 70 goals, and which is more impressive?
I've heard this question quite a bit this year.
Yeah.
And the answer is pretty simple. It's 100 assists. Nobody ever gets 100 assists. It's like Gretzky and one other guy ever.
Gretzky did it 11 times.
He did it 11 times and one other guy did it once, I think.
They're like chocolate or vanilla. I don't. There's no right or wrong. It's just a preference, and 70 goals is 70.
Yeah.
Like it's
so many.
It's a big number.
You're shooting it in almost every night.
And there's different ways you can also look at 100 assists. Do we have any idea how many are primary assists?
It's a great point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you tell me
How many are power play? How
that
many are-
70 out of 100 came directly off his pass for you to shoot it in the net. That drives my level of the 100 like much higher.
I actually think your answer is the right one, which is like there's nothing.
There's
that.
nothing.
It's
There's
kinda
nothing.
like,
It's just
what do you
they're
like?
both phenomenal milestones that stand on their own.
It's clearly goals.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like Kipper mentioned the secondary thing. Is there secondary goals?
Well, there's empty net goals.
Yeah, but Matthews only has 2 of those,
That's true.
which is incredible. To me, you're doing the ultimate thing. That is the point of the game is to shoot it in the net, and you need some teammate help, which is clear with the 100 assists.
Yeah.
Can you not find that in your
What?
little computer?
What do you
How
mean?
many primary assists
we can
out of 100?
But I mean, will you have the context of is that good if I
I
tell you
don't
it's
know.
if I tell you it's
I'm just-
63, or you're
I-
going to go, ugh.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You tell me that
I'm
When we
Googling
come
it.
back,
you tell me
No, hold on. We got to do
90,
game time.
90 are secondary assists. I'm like, yeah.
yeah.
The leader in the league for primary assists is Connor McDavid with 60.
See, that's a pretty good number.
I believe
That's a pretty
5-on-5
good number.
primary assists. Max Domi's 5th in the league or something.
Buddy,
Very-
I'm on a website that is
Does not-
terrifying me. So is IC data a thing?
I don't know.
But it says I'm looking at it here,
it's
and
a
it
big
says
number.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, again, I don't think Austin's got 35 assists. This guy's got 60 primary assists.
That's crazy. 60
Right?
primary assists is nuts.
It's nuts.
He's
It's
historically one of
phenomenal.
the greatest
Like,
to
you know
ever
what kind
do
of
this.
vision you have to have? Like, that's Wayne Gretzky type of vision.
He's got 99 right now. Assists. Sitting on 99.
I thought it would have been really fitting if Matthews had scored goal 66 against the Penguins last night. Thought that would have been very fitting for the Lemieux number. But
How do you think of this stuff?
I don't know.
you mean one of the most famous guys in the history of the league that wears number 66, and Matthews has 66 goals? I mean, how could I ever put that together?
You're the only one that would go that deep. Did it cross your mind?
Not at all.
That
Not
is
at all.
surface level, boys. That can go deeper than that. The hamster's really going.
It's funny, like the icy data thing scared you because there was columns. But
but there's percentage points. And I don't know. Hold on. I got to pull up I forgot my lineup upstairs, so I'm going to do some game time here. It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Now, like you've said, we are off tomorrow. So we've been getting some disappointed texts to the text line, but we'll be back on Thursday. So we'll be here for you there. I don't know how you'll survive with us without breaking down the electric Devils game tonight. I don't know how you'll survive your life without that.
There's good games tonight.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. They care more about so we're not going to get to talk before the Masters start.
Oh.
It is Masters week.
Yeah.
I host the Golf Show podcast on Sportsnet.
It's actually called the Golf Guys, I think.
Yeah, it's called the Golf Show, but
Is it?
hosted by the Golf Guys.
Yes.
Yes.
The Golf Guys of the Golf
Yes.
Show.
So download that. There's a Masters preview up there, so shameless plug by your boy. But I was looking at the value for some of these guys, and Scotty Scheffler is 4-1 now. So he started at 375, plus 375.
No point in betting that.
There's no point.
There's no point in betting that.
I mean, if you have a more amount of units that you're willing to bet, depends on your pocketbook. If you want to bet more, you're going to be in the fight. Scotty Scheffler is going to be in the. Yeah, there's you know what? There's no value on Gucci shoes, but it's nice to have them.
My brain can't do that cross comparison.
So,
I'm like, how do you pull that one out?
Sam's gonna have a weird brain day.
it's not that weird. Anyways, the value longer shots that I like, I think that Patrick Cantlay is severely undervalued at 33-1. He's a guy that always plays well at Augusta, and a guy that is has a slower start to the season, but always elevates. And a guy that I don't love watching play at all, so it's a little bit of a happiness hedge.
Also, is that Cantlay?
No, I hate watching him play. He grinds. Yeah. He's a human rain delay. Give me little Brian Harmon at 50-1 down the list.
Is that the guy that just moves
Waggles?
1,000 times?
It's horrible.
And he's a lefty, right?
He's a lefty.
He could screw up me all summer. But if I watch him longer than 5 minutes, I hit
two
left.
lefties here, by the way.
He could mess me up for the whole summer. He could ruin my summer if I watch him longer. He's like the Eclipse.
Yeah.
Well, Weir was a lefty with a weird pre-shot.
But here's the thing. Lefties love Augusta. Lefties win at Augusta. He's a lefty.
Bubba Watson.
He's an excellent putter. Weir, Mickelson. He's an excellent putter.
Yeah.
50-1 for a guy who won the last major last year. There's good value there. So give me a 50-1 on him. As far as hockey goes.
No, hold on. Any Canadians? Give me a Canadian.
Connors, I got Connors top 5 plus 1,200.
He loves the Masters, doesn't he? He's always kind of there.
Yeah, he's good at the Masters.
Yeah.
I wanted to see where Nick Taylor was here because
he's down.
Top Canadian, Connors is, I think, just over plus 125 or something, and Taylor's plus 250 maybe.
I love our beloved Bet365, and I think they're a wonderful sponsor, but I am downright offended by the number that Nick Taylor has. He is 160-1 to win the Masters.
Buddy, drop 10 on
He is
that.
behind, he's behind Tiger Woods.
That can't be right.
It's right.
I'm going to bet that.
Behind Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods hasn't played 4 rounds of golf in a year.
Tiger Woods might not be able to operate his body for 72 holes.
So I think if you're a good Canadian, it's worth a little sprinkle on Nick Taylor, who's won this year, has been in the conversation at majors before.
72-foot putt to win our national championship.
Absolutely. So a little bit of golf content for you in game time. As far as hockey goes for tonight, a couple good ones. I like Carolina and Boston tonight.
Wash Detroit. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Well, I haven't.
Come
finished.
on, Sammy.
I haven't finished, Kyper.
Who you like?
Oh gosh, I'm pushing Wash.
Yeah, you think they're gonna get Charlie Lindgren, your boy?
Washington is a huge underdog, plus 130 in Detroit. Detroit is minus 155
They do,
favorite.
aren't they?
I would really recommend not betting Detroit Red Wings as a minus 155
Yeah,
favorite.
I don't
It's
like
a
the
scary
number, but I do
scary
think
number.
they're going to win.
So, okay. So there you go. And I do like that Carolina-Boston game tonight. Good flick back option for the Leafs. Give me Carolina in Boston, the best team in the East, according to Borny. So they're going to win that. They have a perfect power play since March. Sorry, a perfect penalty kill since March 27th.
Power play would be
Very impressive. So that was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Okay, let's take a quick break. And we come back. We got some news and notes before we end the show.
Yep.
And take tomorrow off because everybody will be focused on game 12 of 162 of these things.
Buddy, the Jays, they could lose the season if they don't string some wins together here. They keep fans in the building.
All right, plenty to get into. As we mentioned earlier, Connor McDavid, sideline day-to-day. Scottsdale Mayor blast the Coyotes.
Blast them to another state.
Let's put on our surprise faces.
And some Leafs lineup news, too.
All
after
right.
the break.
All after the break when we return to Real Kyper and Bourne. Welcome back. This segment of Real Kyper and Bourne is brought to you by Hyundai. What do you guys got planned on your day off?
Or
Are you golfing?
I'm golfing, yep.
Today was spectacular. Is that because we had an eclipse yesterday? Is that why we got great weather?
Buddy, 1 hour after the eclipse, it was blue as you'll ever see the sky.
It was
like the prairies
so
on
clear.
it. Yeah, it's a giant blue sky.
We have these more often.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll talk to some people.
That leads to great weather.
It's supposed to be even better tomorrow, boys. So I'm teeing it. Can't wait. Clean the clubs up today. Got a couple boxes of
Just
fresh
sitting there sadly scrubbing your clubs at home. Waiting.
fresh Kirkland pearls, ready to rock, baby.
Kirkland balls, I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
They're great.
Before break, you mentioned Toronto's got some healthy scratches. Also, a major announcement from the New Jersey Devils based on a tweet we just saw from our Elliot Friedman.
Yeah, Jack Hughes having shoulder surgery. He will miss the rest of the year, and the Devils say he will be ready to go by the start of 2024-25 season. But big news that, one of the league's premier scorers is having serious surgery.
Is that what he missed some time? Was it shoulder that he missed the time with? So maybe he was playing hurt, and then now they're like, we're out of it. Time to
this
get it.
fixed up.
Listen, he's a first pick overall, but he had a very, very tough first year.
Yeah.
He did. He was,
Okay.
yeah.
And just probably the body, wasn't where it needed to be at 18 to play in the NHL, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I hope this doesn't have anything to do with that first year where, in my opinion, he probably took a little bit of a beating.
Well, they were playing him 15 minutes a night. He scored, I think, 21 points in 61 games, like 7 goals.
Yeah.
So
But
why
physically,
do that?
he didn't come in as a stud at 18, right? He wasn't Austin, who, by the way, played the World Cup at 235 before playing one game for the Toronto Maple
right?
Leafs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A lot
235.
of, a lot of person.
He's a big man
Yeah.
with a big frame.
Yeah, we saw a look into the future playing with
Right.
Connor McDavid on the same line there in that tournament. It was great.
Which brings me
Wait a sec.
to the news out of the Western Hockey League, where they've got a 14-year-old Dupont, defenseman. He's got exceptional status. He's 14 years old.
Yeah.
And hey, I've caught a few clips. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. He's going to be a star.
Yeah.
He's Bedard, maybe, on defense. But what are we doing here? 14.
That's crazy.
14 years old. Hey, come into a league where guys are 5 years older than you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know,
Are
like,
we smart here? Are we just forcing things? Are we pushing it too
Like
hard?
if he doesn't play in the dub, what does he do?
I don't know.
Where does he play?
He just
I genuinely,
dominates
I don't-
somewhere else, I
Yeah.
guess.
So here's the list of exceptional players. So it's been John Tavares, Aaron Ekblad, Connor McDavid, Sean Day.
That's the OHL.
Yeah. No, Joe Villano was in the queue. Shane Wright, Bedard, Michael Misa, and now Dupont.
Yeah.
That's the list of exceptional status.
Pretty successful.
But how many ended up household names?
4, 5.
Tavares,
Not all.
Ekblad,
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
I'd say he's
You
a
think?
household. Yep. Shane Wright, Bedard, and Michael Misa is still playing, so he's young. But anyways,
It's not a guarantee.
No, it's not.
I didn't expect exceptional status takes today.
No,
I
I
love this,
just-
Kipper.
well-
I'll do this all day.
And I think it's a good conversation to have, but I really don't feel informed on the development of these kids because I imagine they're such individualized cases, right?
Sure.
Like,
But
now
that's-
Sean Day was giant and skated like the wind.
Yeah.
I think he did recently play his first NHL games, if I'm not mistaken.
Does it
Maybe not.
come into play?
Played last year.
Did he get any?
He's playing for Syracuse this year. Played 2 games last year.
I don't
Two
know
NHL
what the
games.
right and wrong answer is. All I know is 14
One
is
NHL.
really young and 15 is really young.
Yeah.
That's all.
Oh, I agree. And, it's also quite the environment, like a junior hockey locker room to throw a 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah, he's going to probably be 15 by the time
Yeah.
it starts. But
People do bad words quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of bad
About a
words.
whole range of topics.
I've never heard that in a locker room.
Yeah.
Some Leafs lineup notes. Connor Timmins coming in for Ilya Lyubushkin tonight. Nick Robertson and Noah Gregor drawing into the lineup for Connor Dewar and Ryan Reeves.
Yeah.
Joseph Wall in the net with Martin Jones backing up. So there you go, boys. No threat of Sammy being in this
Well,
one ever.
I don't really want it. I mean, okay, every team can pull those third and fourth liners out. Just tell me, is
I will
Connor
say, though-
McDavid taking a night off? Are they going to start resting him? Are you going to rest Austin Matthews here?
I think they're
That's
going to
what I
let
find
Austin
interesting.
see if he scores a hat trick in the next game or two, and then they'll make decisions. I don't think unless he runs up a number here in the next game or two, they'll play him all the way through.
He owns everybody with the scoring, but I think he's
over 0.9 goals per game against the Devils.
Yeah, he owns the Devils.
Yeah.
Scores against them all the time.
It's certainly sounding like they're setting up Connor McDavid to take a night off here.
Is that tonight, you think?
Well, it's day to day. So you think he's
Yeah.
If he's day
Or
to day,
they play
like-
Vegas tomorrow.
day to day with
So don't
hitting
play
the
him against
couch.
Vegas.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
Why
What's-
push it? They still have 6 games left. God, that's a lot of hockey to fit in the next 9 days for them.
yeah.
It is.
Not optimal way to finish.
Big win for the Canucks last night.
Yes, Canucks have all but pulled away from the Oilers. I mean, I know the Oilers can still, they got all those games to go, but seems like that kind of
And they will-
ices the Pacific.
And they will get the first wild card.
The Oilers? Oilers will finish second in the division
Yeah.
with LA, for the 2-3 series. Looks like LA's, they're 1 point ahead of Vegas.
I have to say, Quinn Hughes is a delight to watch.
He had the puck the whole night.
He is so good.
Yeah.
And he's going to win the Norris. He's a huge favorite on,
Yeah.
and rightfully so.
Yeah, I don't
But-
see anyone else.
There's not many guys in the league that control the pace of a game like him. He is just a delight to watch.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
A lot of the underlying numbers, if you look at like Stathletes and stuff, like
Yeah.
in terms of touches per game, ozone touches, possession time, he has the puck more than anyone else. He influences more plays than anyone in the league.
And how
arguably.
about Brock Besser? 40 goals. Where
What's
after
his contract situation? I'm not even being facetious there. I forget. Did he still needs one? Does he not for
I think he's got one more year at 6 something maybe.
one more year? That sounds
And maybe
No,
you
no,
could be wrong.
He did a 3-year
Am I
deal.
dumb? Did he? What am I
Yeah.
missing here? Yeah, 3-year deal. Okay.
He did a 3-year deal.
And this is the first year of it?
1 sec. I'm gonna give you that answer. So no, he's got 6 this year, and he has next year.
Next year.
6,
Yeah,
5.
he's in the second year.
Yeah.
Last year was his first year.
Yeah.
40 goals. And they
So he'll be
they
going
couldn't
into
give
the
him
last
away.
year of that.
they
yeah,
couldn't give him away.
at the deadline, or just throughout the year they try. I think.
Last year
I don't know if
the
it
last
really
year.
started at the deadline
I see,
last
I see, I
year,
see.
but during the summer, him and Garland, it was like, we got to get rid of these contracts.
I love Garland in the way that I hate Garland. You know, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I just like I can see why he makes people mad. I can see why sometimes he frustrates fans and coaches. I just love.
in your face.
Yeah, he's like Bunting, but like angrier.
Yeah.
Bunting is more like I'm having a good time with this whole thing. Garland is dead serious.
He's like, I hate you.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Right around the net, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Everything's right around the net.
He
Stick
scored
your
his
nose.
100th career goal last night.
Yeah.
Okay, the mayor of Scottsdale is not happy with
boy.
the potential of an arena just off North Phoenix.
Can
It's on
one
the-
organization step on more rakes? Like they're the absolute sideshow Bob from The Simpsons.
Can you please read the quote?
Yes. Okay. In their latest hitch, Scottsdale Mayor David Ortega opposed the Coyotes' plans. Here's what he had to say in a piece he wrote, an opinion piece. The prospect of a rookie developer attempting to buy Arizona State Trust land with absolutely no infrastructure on the Phoenix side of Loop 101 on Scottsdale Road intersection at the doorstep of Scottsdale is not feasible or welcome, Ortega wrote.
Okay. Tell me how you really feel, Davey. Holy.
I admire the sport, Arizona Coyotes community involvement in phenomenal youth hockey clubs at Scottsdale Ice Den, but I, along with the city of Scottsdale staff, will continue to monitor any actions that occur and negative repercussions for Scottsdale. As it stands today, the fantasy hockey project must move west, away from Scottsdale. Mayor of Scottsdale.
Okay, someone tell the mayor that the NHL, we don't take hints.
No, absolutely oblivious to subtlety.
That's a
Not
hint.
that was subtle.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a hint.
I don't know if that's a hint.
That's a
It's more of a
subtle
punch.
in the nose.
No. After, 20 years of this? It's a hint.
Ah, my God. The only parcel of land they can find in the giant state of Arizona, and the people who live there are like, we don't.
And the crazy part about it is, like, this thing's supposed to go to auction in June.
Yeah.
So it starts at $68 million.
And they've made it clear that they won't lose.
The Arizona Coyotes, the owner's Alex
Marullo.
He wants
Jason
it,
Marullo, I believe.
right? So, like, I don't know. Doesn't sound like you're very good at poker, right?
Right, yeah.
I really want it.
I really want this.
Okay, like, why don't you just show your cards to everybody in the world?
Can I get it for 68?
It's like
you
more-
could until you said that.
It's like me at Golf Town. I'm like, just take it.
Like, this thing is
Take
gonna.
my card. How much can fit on that?
It'll go for 100.
I mean, they'll just put some guy in the room who's not serious about it until they get to 100, and okay, you take over from here to own a parcel of land where the mayor
this
doesn't
is
want you.
going.
I tell you where it's going.
Salt Lake.
Utah. Yeah.
And I saw today that they were taking submissions for team names.
Yeah, Ryan Smith put that up.
Yeah, some good ones. Did you know it was the Beehive State?
No.
I didn't either. Salt Lake Stingers. Can I interest you in that? Too
If
bush
they're not-
league.
You're just not known as like anything bee related.
I don't know if this is helping.
Utah.
Salt. Yeah, I don't think it's helping. Like,
Bringing the
if
people
you know
in.
anything about Commissioner Gary Bettman, I don't think he likes this stuff.
What was the-
right?
what was
We
the
haven't given
Blackberry
you-
guy?
We haven't given you a
Oh,
team
really?
yet.
Yeah.
You're going out and soliciting names now.
Yeah.
Not cool.
And also when you involve the public, like didn't they vote on some ship and the public voted on the name Bodie McBoatface?
Yeah.
Like you're not going to end up with a great name.
I saw Utah Yetis. Ugh.
I saw some that I can't say on air.
Really?
The Utah Gila Monsters.
Gila.
Okay, I'm an idiot. So there you go. The Utah Elks, state mammal.
I liked your silver tips.
I did too.
Salt Lake silver tips.
Yeah, works great. I think Salt
But
Lake
that's a-
Stingers runs well
it's
too.
done. It's taken.
Well, that's never stopped anyone before.
Oh yeah, I mean, well,
Bully 'em.
what about the Kitchener Rangers, bud?
That was, I don't know who went first.
I bet you it
Someone
was
went
or
second
there
is
might
all
have
I
been an
know.
affiliation, maybe.
probably. Yeah, I don't know. I
I'm gonna
think
say there's a good
but,
chance.
there's tons
uh,
of leagues that.
Vegas couldn't go Knights. They had to go Golden Knights because of the London Knights.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm making that up or not.
don't let facts get in the way of a great take.
I think I read it somewhere.
yeah.
Was it on
Yeah, I
Facebook?
believe you.
Was it your
if
weird
you never
uncle?
qualified it, I would have never questioned
Yeah,
that.
same.
So,
But I mean,
Okay,
I think,
help me out, Twitter.
I don't want to offend the Everett Silvertips here, but I think the London Knights have a little more cachet.
I think
Is
that's
that
a
fair?
reasonable suggestion, yes.
I just, I think it's time here.
Yeah.
Like when the mayor of the town is coming out, dunking all over you, you're trying to, it's an ego thing.
Build the thing when you get it built.
And
We'll
you know,
talk about
here,
coming back.
Gary's
then.
got to go in there and be like, it's over.
Yeah.
You know,
You're coming with me.
and the crazy part
Oh,
about
stop
it
the
is,
fight.
it from everyone I talk to, this is a fantastic location. It is perfect,
Okay.
except the mayor ain't giving you any water.
You can get sewer. You can get it all figured out once you agree.
No, he's saying no. There's none of that.
Well, there's no infrastructure. That's
Yeah.
what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
we're,
mean,
we're not giving you fresh water,
I think that's reasonably
and we're out of it in the state
common,
of Arizona. By the way,
reasonably common with the state of Arizona. They have these big undeveloped pieces of land.
Buddy, put it upstairs at Blondie's. I'll get a season ticket holder.
Sure, man. There's people who would love it for sure, but
Scottsdale is very good.
it is. All right. Arbor Jack guy is going to undergo season-ending shoulder surgery as well. Big challenge to say that a whole bunch of times. Oshie
Coming back tonight.
coming back. Okay.
that'll help.
Yeah.
I saw Sergachev skating around in a non-contact jersey.
Does that scare you?
Any chance he comes back
No.
in
He
round 2 or
snapped
3?
No.
his fibula.
John-
How is he on the ice still?
John Cooper says no,
Okay. Well, yeah,
and Dave
he's never
Andrechuk
told a
said
fib.
no.
Okay. Yeah,
Those
you're
guys
right.
He's never told
those
a
guys have
fib.
never fibbed. Like Kucherov's not. He's not healthy.
Honest
boys.
Abe Cooper. That's
He's-
what they call him.
He's not healthy. He's not healthy, boys. So
All right. Big night.
We still got to decide on an MVP in the last handful of games here.
And
No.
changing for you lately?
I don't know. Isn't it already decided? You're voting, right?
I am.
You've made up your mind already.
I mean, I have. If the season stopped today,
Yeah.
I got a guy.
Oh, stop it. What do you like?
I saw.
You wanna know?
You've made up your decision. Oh, I'll ask you maybe later on
Yeah.
in the week.
Yeah.
I won't do that to you now.
Our boy who we had on yesterday, Jason Greger, I'm not going to read out this whole long tweet because it's a lot of information, but he had an excellent tweet regarding the on-off stats for the guys and talking about their contributions.
And who's
Kucherov-
more valuable to their team?
Kucherov is factored in on 50.2% of Tampa Bay's goals this year.
Is that the highest of the?
McDavid's 48, McKinnon 46, Panarin at 42, and Matthews and Crosby on 36.6.
But goals, Austin is at what, 25? And a guy like Kucherov would be at 15.
What are you talking about?
Contributions, goals, contributions to your team.
Oh, percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise,
I see.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like I don't love the whole we're going to penalize Connor McDavid because like Draisaitl's good or because they have more scoring than Tampa. Like,
Yeah. I think, I would just be the guy that votes for Connor McDavid every year. So that's probably, I'll never have a vote, but I would vote for Connor McDavid every year.
Hey, there's plenty of guys that vote just like you.
There are.
Well, just the best guy in the league with the most points every year.
I think.
I think he's the MVP.
Well,
Or in your
if at
case, the
end-
right passport.
If you just got accused of something very serious. At the
That's why I don't have a
end of
vote.
your career, if you show your voting record and you voted for the best player in the league every year,
Yeah.
I don't think you're getting a bunch of criticism.
That's true.
Everyone's going to go, yeah, at least you were on the right track there.
All right,
Didn't
boys.
overthink it too much.
And this segment of Real Kipper and Bourne was brought to you by Hyundai. The 2024 Santa Fe Hybrid NHL Edition is made for those who drive hockey. Only 500 available. Order yours today,
They're
boys.
legit like NHL.
Yeah.
Like NHL Hyundai.
There you go. Love it.
Cool.
I'm Steve off tomorrow.
11:10 a.m.
Foursome?
Maybe. You were looking for a spot?
I don't know.
You want to drive up to Mississauga? You can come.
It's going to be packed.
Yeah, it's-
We're looking at a 5.5 hour round.
No,
I can't
Kipper.
do that.
We're not playing. What are you talking about? We're not playing like the Mississauga City courses. It's good. Good pace, I promise.
All right.
You want to come?
Is your game's in good shape already?
I played once. I shot 83.
All right.
Islanders Rangers tonight. Islanders need this one.
All right. 13 games. Pick your game, and we'll be back Thursday as we take tomorrow off. Enjoy it. Have a good one, everybody.